Warning, this episode contains adult language, mature situations, desolate imagery, soul-crushing moments, depictions of a war-torn world, and more pleasant topics. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Spiraken Manga Review, episode 521. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spiraken Manga Review. I'm your host, Zan, saying konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, and what's up? Hope you're doing well out there, and hope you're excited for another fun-filled episode of this awesome podcast you can find at www.spiraken.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and various other social media sites. Just type in SPRAKN, and I guarantee you'll find us one way or the other. With that in mind, let's actually get to it, but because this is one which is kind of a little bit depressing. As you can guess, by the way I'm talking, I'm not my usual upbeat, positive self. The reason why is that this manga was, or actually this manhwa was a little bit soul-crushing. So, if you remember from last episode, I spun that one that only the WHEEL of MANGA, and it dictated to be that reviewing a manhwa, not a manga. And for those of you who are unaware, a manhwa is a Korean graphic novel, not a Japanese-based graphic novel. There are slight differences. Example, the main one is from Japan, one is from Korea, but the other big difference is that a manga, like Go-Go Loser Ranger, is right to left. Meanwhile, a manhwa is left to right. So a little bit easier to read, however, it is a little bit more, it's slight differences. Art style is different, some of the stories are a little bit more unique or more sad, the nomenclature for the names are different, but that's not really the case in this situation. But actually, let's get to our review, shall we? Because, like I said in the last episode, I spun the Wheel of Manga, and I dictated to be there reviewing a very interesting manhwa. Now, this manhwa was written by JH, aka Jai Hoon Hwan. This is the creator of The Boxer, a manhwa which is pretty popular. And this was published by Naver, or Is Press, which is the manhwa imprint for Yen Press. The original run for this webtoon was actually all the way back in 2016, where it was released in Comica. There are 23 chapters that were released over 1 year, and they're actually compiled into 3 different volumes, which, well, they're very unique. This is the first of the series. You can read the rest online legitimately through Lezen, which is actually where I read the rest of this, and we'll get to that in a moment. This is a seinen series, so the demographic is for anyone over the age of 18, preferably male, but anyone should read this. This is a drama series, and its original title was El Horizon, but it's known and released to the West as The Horizon. And to describe this story is, well, let's get to it. It's a story of loss, of pain, of grief, of trying to survive in a world which is uncaring, and trying to survive and find a meaning for it all. This is a manga which is dark, it's soul-crushing, and more importantly than that, this is one which is desolate, and any chance you have a moment of rest from this world, it gets yanked away quickly. This is not one of those stories that's like, oh yeah, it's really, really fun, it's really, really good. No, this is not that. It actually opens up with our main character, who is just known as the boy. And the boy is just looking out into the sea of the world. And this actually is near the end of Volume 2 when this is taking place. And this is one of the only major scenes which take place in color. And we're seeing him watching the waves overlap, and then the rest is a flashback as to what had happened. Because this boy is in a world where there is war and there is death. And it is desolate, it is dark, and people die for meaningless reasons. And this manga has no dialogue. Well, that's not true. There is moments of dialogue, but when the dialogue is there, it is important. It is there for a reason. And this is this young man's story as he goes through life trying to find it in this world which is desolate, where people are killed for no reason, and he has to go through this world logically and alone after losing his mother. And as he goes off, he's trying to survive, and he stumbles upon a bus. And in this bus, he finds a place where he can kind of hide and be alone and be safe for the night. And on this bus, he actually finds a young girl. And in this world where everything has been lost, this boy and girl who are now alone together, they have to figure out what they're going to do. Are they friends? Are they enemies? And where can they go? So they end up moving forward. And as I said before, the art is haunting and isolating and depressing. There are moments of beauty in this. And for the most part, I'm going to be showing mostly the more beautiful scenes. There is a couple scenes that are going to be jarring that I will show, but for the most part, I'm not going to spoil what goes on in this story because it is that soul-crushing. It is that hurting. And there is a moment where there is actually a positive at the end of the story, but for the most part, that's not what this is. This is the journey, and the journey is, well, as it shows, them just trying to walk around, them saying, what are we going to do when the road ends? But maybe the road will never end because the world is round. In a circle, you always come back to the same point. It's about existence, about life, death, and this boy and this girl moving forward together. What happens when strangers show up? Do they trust them? Do they not? Are they good? Are they evil? That's what this story shows and tells. And these sequences of people who look monstrous, they're images that are just haunting. And I read this at 12 o'clock at night, which was a big mistake. And this is a manhwa which you have to read in one shot. Yes, there's only one volume to start off with. But after I was finished with that first volume, I had to read the rest of the story. I had to know how this story ended for this boy and this girl. And there are moments which will bring tears to your eyes in this story. And moments of worry. And every time that there is a moment where there's a respite for what happened, a happy moment, a moment which will bring a smile to your face, it just gets taken away slowly. And I don't want to say any more because of how this all goes. But this story is one which just is not the way you think it would go. It doesn't end the way it goes. This isn't a happy story about a man, a boy and a girl who end up falling in love and having a happy ending. This is about emotions versus logic. This is dealing with, should you trust someone because you feel sorry for them, or is a logical thing, stay away from them because they're danger. That's what this story's about. And honestly, this is one of the hardest stories I've read in a while. And this is not for everybody. As I said, the art in this is haunting and beautiful and nightmarish. There are moments which look truly serene, but then the next scene, it's just, I don't have words. I really don't. I mean, when I first saw this, I was like, maybe it'll be interesting. Maybe it'll be kind of cool. Then when I read it, just the first sequence, and within 5 pages, we have a scene of the boy finding his dead mother, who's been shot through the head, and he's trying to put her back together, trying to make sense of this. And this story will make you weep. As it goes on further, there are moments of just of thought and of contemplation, and this makes you wonder about the world in general. This is a tough manga to read and a tough manga to review because, on the one hand, I want to be like, this manga is a piece of shit, it's horrible, don't read this. But this is a manga which it is so emotional and so impactful. It's something which part of me wants to say you should read this. So I was going back and forth because this is not a Give Me a Crazy Aunt Muriel, okay, but forgettable. This is in our middle of the ground. This isn't a piece of shit, but this is not for anyone. This is a story for people who are able to compose themselves, and think about this logically and coldly. This is one that's going to make you want to evaluate your life. And this is a manhwa, which I highly recommend if you do read this. This is you're going to need a palate cleanser. Now, usually I would be like, oh, here's my rating for the week. This one, I'm not giving it a rating. This is one of the few mangas I'm not giving a rating because this is one where you should experience it for yourself. If you do read The Horizon, just be prepared for a very dark journey, which may have a happy ending, but it doesn't feel like a happy ending. Or not even a happy ending, a hopeful ending. This is nihilistic, it's Nietzschean, there's a lot of other buzzwords I could use, but the main thing is this is soul-crushing and hurtful. And not in a hurtful like they're trying to hurt the audience, it's hurtful because you feel for these characters. You feel for this boy who's lost everything, and as he keeps trying to survive, things just get worse and worse. And even the moments when it looks better, it gets worse. And I know I'm talking rough, but yeah, this one was a tough one. So I think that with that in mind, yeah, if you've read this, or you've seen the webtoon, or you actually bought the physical manhwa, tell me your thoughts. Email me zanspiraken.com or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know your thoughts on if you enjoyed this, or if you thought it was complete garbage, or if you wanted to throw this book against the wall. Let me know your thoughts. And you can email me zanspiraken.com or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know. So let's get on to a happier topic. Let's actually get to the manga releases for this week because we had a lot of really good ones this week. So let's go. So for this week, or actually the last 2 weeks, we had several mangas. First off, we've got Berserk of Gluttony Volume 8, followed by Blue Box Volume 5. This series I've been hearing a lot about. I have not read this yet. If you've read this, let me know your thoughts if I should put this on the Wheel of Manga. Anyway, next, we had Classroom of the Elite, Horikiti Volume 1, Dr. Stone Volume 26, Gap Papa, Daddy at Work and at Home Volume 2, Grimgar, Fantasy and Ash, the Light Novel Volume 19, Arena the Vampire Cosmonaut, Light Novel Volume 5, Kimono Jihen Volume 6, Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible Volume 8, Let's Buy This Land and Cultivate It in a Different World Volume 4, Like a Butterfly Volume 1, Moriarty the Patriot Volume 12, My Repair Skill Becomes a Versatile Cheat, so I think I'll open a weapon shop Volume 4, My Love Mix-Up Volume 8, One Piece Volume 108, Please Go Home Miss Akutsu Volume 2, Pulse Volume 4, Romantic Killer Volume 4, The Ancient Magus Bride Volume 18, The Elusive Samurai Volume 7, Tista Volume 2, Vampire Knight Memories Volume 8, Versailles of the Dead Volume 4, World's End Harem Fantasia Volume 9. That was for last week. Then last Wednesday we had 2 releases of Blade of the Immortal, the Deluxe Volume 9 hardcover, and Gantz the Omnibus Volume 12. And for this week, which is the 11th of July, which was yesterday, we had A Galaxy Next Door Volume 5, Barbaritas Volume 3, Case Closed Volume 87, Cinderella Closet Volume 2, Classroom of the Elite Year 2 Light Novel Volume 5, Dan Da Dan Volume 4, Devil's Candy Volume 3, Disney Twisted Wonderland Volume 1, Drugstore in Another World, The Slow Life of a Cheat Pharmacist Volume 7, Failure Frame, I Became the Strongest and Annihilated Everyone with Low-Level Spells Volume 6, Fly Me to the Moon Volume 18, Helk Volume 4, I Got the Feeling That Nobukune-san Likes Me Volume 3, Kaiju Number 8 Volume 7, Katanari Volume 4, Kirby Mania, or Kirby Manga Mania Volume 6, Malevolent Spirits Monogatari Volume 3. Mal Volume 12. My Girlfriend's Child Volume 2. My Next Life as a Cat Volume 2. No Longer Allowed in Another World Volume 3. Parallel Paradise Volume 14. Shaman King Flowers Volume 3. Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie Volume 13. The Haunted Bookstore Gateway to a Parallel Universe Light Novel Volume 6. The Husky and His White Cat Shizun Irahe Ta de Bao Mao Shizun Volume 4, the novel. Though I'm an Inept Villainess, Tale of the Butterfly Rat Body Swap in the Maiden Court Light Novel Volume 4. Thousand Autumns Quain Quain Volume 2. And then last, and certainly not least, we have Twilight Out of Focus 2 After Images in Slow Motion. So, out of the last 2 weeks, we had tons of very unique manga, some which were great, some which were sad, and let's be honest, I compiled and went through, and here are my top 5 for the week. For this week, my top 5 are Blade of the Immortal Deluxe Edition Volume 9, the hardcover, because they've done an amazing job with this edition, and I love the fact that this is a manga that the original mangaka flipped from right to left, redrew everything because he's so dedicated to it, and this series is still amazing years later. Then we have Grimgar, Fantasy and Ash, Light Novel Volume 19. This story has just become more and more compelling. It's made me want to read more. You have Like a Butterfly Volume 1, which is a new series that looks engaging. The story seems intriguing. You have My New Life as a Cat Volume 2, which is another story that just seems like it's going to be fun and silly. And then No Longer Allowed in Another World. That just seems like a manga which is just going to be really fun to check out. So if you agree or if there's one you want to check out, let me know. Email me at zanspiraken.com or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know your thoughts on this and which ones you thought were the best and which ones were you most excited about. So with that in mind, let's actually, I'd like to thank you all for checking out this podcast. I know this is a more depressing one, but hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit better with that. And we're going to have some more updates. So actually going to be releasing more weekly again. I know it's been weird with me doing every other week for a while. It's just things have been kind of crazy in real life. And I'm now getting back to a homeostasis. So now I'm going to be able to be doing things more evenly every week. But I have 2 other bits of news. First off, I've got an email from Otakon, and Otakon has said that they are accepting 5 of my panels. Yes, that's right. 5 panels are going to be at Otakon. And so that's at the end of July, and here's what we've got. I'm going to be doing my I'm Not Old, main characters over 30. I'm going to be doing 22 train manga recommendations for grown-ups. I'm going to be doing horror and anime manga 2023. I'm going to be doing intro to manga and manga collecting. And then last, and certainly not least, we're doing that one that only, the Insane Manga Challenge. And I've got to say, this is going to be a lot of fun because everything going on is just going to be a blast getting out some manga, and also just I always have fun doing that manga. It makes me want to have fun. It makes me just want to be chilled out and just have a fun doing it because I love doing the Insane Manga Challenge. So if you are at Otakon, check out my panels. I'll be posting the times and dates next week in our next episode, and that's the week before the con is, so we're going to see how this all goes. But I digress. I'm babbling a little bit. So as I said before, thank you for checking out this podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you, every email I get, every comment I get. It makes me want to keep doing this podcast for as long as I can. And if you want to help me create more fun content for you to enjoy, remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm actually readjusting the Patreon because someone said that a lot of the links aren't working, so I'm re-editing and re-putting out all the videos so that they streamline a little bit better. I'm also going to be probably releasing episodes a day early on Patreon, so stay tuned for that. But with that in mind, let's get to the part that you have all been waiting for. And what are we talking about? We're talking about that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga! Yes, friends, the Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on. What I've done is I've assigned a manga tile to each of the 10 slots. So we're going to spin the Wheel of Manga, and whatever number it lands on, that's the manga I'm going to review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, episode 522. We've got some great titles on here. We have one title that might be depressing, but for the most part, they're all exciting. They're all great, and we're going to see what happens. So let's spin and see what we're going to review in the next episode, shall we? Kind of hypnotic. Still is. Number 10, Yeah Boy Koming, the reverse isekai about the famous Chinese strategist coming to our world. I've been waiting to read this manga for a while because I've heard a lot of great things. I love the opening to this that I saw online. I have not read the manga yet. I know it's digital only, but we're going to see what happens. So that's going to put a smile on my face. So anyway, as usual, hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm your host, Zan. I'm Gonzville. I'll catch you guys next time, and keep reading manga, and sorry for the depressingness. See you later.